Oh, good morning to you. We've got the Friday Night Lights tonight. So many of our colleges have home games this weekend. And of course, Lucas Oil Stadium, the Colts will be at home Sunday. I think that's a 4:15, 4:30 kickoff. Looking forward to that. Of course, we've got our blue on here on 13 Sunrise because it's Friday. You've made it to the end of the work week, and we're looking ahead to the weekend already. So thanks for waking up with us here on Sunrise. Check out the Operation Football. What is this, week 4 already?
Yes, it is hard to believe, right? So we've got the goods. We want you to have the goods at the end of this season. So you just got to turn up and turn out. And they are doing that, we know, this morning at Park Tudor. So we're looking forward to that. But welcome in here on a Friday at 6 o'clock. I'm Julia Moffa, along with Matt and
Sam.
Wait, who are you?
Sam.
I was going to call you Julia. I was looking right at you. Julia, Julia, Sam. I'm so sorry about that, but we're glad you're here, and hopefully you like it hot.
Yeah, 80s for the weekend. We talked about a little 90s action coming next week, and some people were talking about keeping the pool open for a couple more days.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
This is the hottest football forecast we have had for the whole season.
I believe
It's week 4.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Flip-flop, kind of all over the place. But all those hot summer practices that you tried to forget have prepared you for tonight. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be crazy, the difference, though. Kick off with the 80s, and then you drop in the low 70s by the time.
Wow. So ladies have the sweaters, Mom.
It's not a bad idea. You know, some folks may make fun of you at first, and then you'll think, well, I was watching 13 Sunrise, and I know it's going to get cool this evening. It also gives you something to sit on, because sometimes the bleachers can get pretty hard. And they may be a little hot, too, because they've been basking in the sunlight all day long. We have a great Friday summary forecast for you ahead. We're mainly clear out there this morning. We're starting off in the 60s in Indianapolis, but as soon as you get outside the city, most of us are in the 50s this morning. Farther to the north, a lot of low and mid 50s from Muncie to Anderson. Good morning in Noblesville. It's 54. It's 53 in Tipton, 52 in Kokomo, and 55, a pair of 55s from Lebanon up north to Lafayette. So you see that 62 in Indy, but big difference once you get into Boone County. 49 in Zionsville, 55 in Carmel and Fishers. We have a lot of 55s in eastern Indiana from Newcastle to Connorsville. Good morning in Richmond. It's 57 in Martinsville, Greenwood 59, and then a lot of 50s farther to the south. 53 now, a little bit cooler for us in Bloomington, and 57 for the Owls in Seymour. High pressure, keeping us quiet, keeping us dry, but a warm front is on the way. We had one come in through early this week to get to the mid 80s. Now to get to the 90s, you need another warm front. But as it swings through tomorrow, there could be some isolated storms, and that chance has gone up a little bit. We'll talk more about the timing, a few of those coming up. In the meantime, let's talk traffic this morning as you're waking up, headed out the door. The good news is that we've been pretty quiet. We're hoping to stay that way. A lot of green on the maps this morning. No crashes or accidents do I have to report to you. I do want to let you know some good news. NDOT is expecting to open up that new bridge they've been working on, that ramp from I-465 east to Benford Boulevard south. We've been closed for a while, but that's expected to reopen on Monday. They still have some things they got to do over the weekend to make sure it's ready to go. So that's some good news. This is a live look at that project, looking all right. And this is a live look at Newcastle. Newcastle, the Trojans will be hosting the Golden Bears from Shelbyville tonight. Good luck to all the athletes.
This morning, investigators are still searching for the person who shot and killed prominent conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
And while they may not have anyone in custody just yet, we are learning more about a person of interest police believe may have fired the fatal shot. Investigators released these photos here of a person they believe is a suspect in the case. So for the first time, we're also seeing video of the gunman after that shooting from campus perspective on these cameras. So if you could see here, looking on the very tip in the middle here of that building, you see who police believe is the shooter climbing down at the Valley Utah University and running off.
The Utah governor, Spencer Cox, says they've gotten more than 7,000 tips since releasing those photos. Investigators say they also found what they believe to be the rifle used in that shooting.
I would just note that the FBI hasn't received this many digital media tips from the public since the Boston Marathon bombing. This case also highlights the dedication of our law enforcement community. We have 20 federal, state, and local law enforcement partners that are working shoulder to shoulder to find the person who committed this horrific crime.
Now, the motive behind this shooting is still unclear. Governor Cox says the state of Utah plans to seek the death penalty against the Kirk shooting suspect. The FBI is now offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Condemnation came swiftly from the right and left. Republicans and Democrats agreeing there is no place for this kind of violence in America.
But some reactions to this shooting are getting some condemnation of their own. In fact, in Muncie, the president of the Human Rights Commission was pushed to resign after saying Kirk deserved what happened to him.
13 News received screenshots of the post under Stephen Knipp's name, saying, in part, this man is the cause of the circumstance. He is neither a victim nor a hero.
We don't need anybody fueling that type of fire. You know, those are things that we want to try to stamp out and move forward as a city, as a country.
And that is the council president there reacting to those posts. Now, Knipp later wrote online that while he is resigning from the Human Rights Commission, he hopes more people will advocate for human rights. And the assassination is just another moment amid the rising threat of political violence.
Some researchers talk to us about this and about the tension they say is causing people to react now more than ever. Anna Chalker is back in studio this morning. Anna, this is something we're seeing from both sides.
It really is, ladies. A researcher at the University of Maryland even telling us there have been 150 politically motivated attacks in the first 6 months of this year alone. That's nearly twice as many as the same period last year. So in the last 14 months, we've seen 2 assassination attempts on President Donald Trump, 2 Minnesota lawmakers shot in their homes, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence set on fire, and the latest assassination attempt of Kirk, just to name some of them. So a University of Indianapolis professor Laura Wilson says all of this violence can make people numb to what's going on around them. She says it could also make people afraid to share what they believe in, or even if they wanted to be involved in politics.
It actually disenfranchises people. It turns people off from the system. So good people with great ideas may not choose to run for office. And people who want to speak out about things they disagree with and should have that American right, that freedom of speech to do so, may feel silenced because they're concerned about the repercussions.
With all of the recent attacks, Wilson says it should spark a conversation about security for the ones in politics, but also at the events that thousands of people are going to. And Wilson also saying, you know, political violence, unfortunately, it's just not going to magically disappear. This is something we've seen for years, and we unfortunately will continue to see. So coming up, we're going to be talking about, you know, what's really kind of fueling some of these conversations and just the anger from a lot of these people.
And if you look at our, you know, politicians in Washington, a lot of them saying they're deciding to hold events indoors as opposed to outside. Some of them going as far as to say, I'll carry a loaded gun with me now forever on my work. So she's so right. Just kind of nailing how people might feel about this.
Exactly.
And this is obviously a developing story still, something that we've continued to follow this week and will continue as we learn more in this investigation. Our coverage of the Charlie Kirk shooting continues online right now. You can read statements from lawmakers here in Indiana and across the country.
So we'll also be posting any new updates, of course, on this investigation. If anything develops while we're on the air, of course, we'll bring it to you. We'll also be posting any new information online as well.
Your time is 6:08 this morning. A man recently accused of attempting to rape 2 women on the Monon Trail is now facing new charges, but in a different case.
So prosecutors tell us they connected him to a crime for nearly a decade ago with the help of DNA evidence. So he is expected to be in court today on these new charges. 27-year-old Larry Duerson faces rape and child molestation. Investigators say Duerson was 18 years old at the time of a violent sexual assault of a 13-year-old in 2016. Well, a new detective on the case confirmed Duerson lived just doors down from the victim at the time of the crime.
These allegations occurred in 2016, and now in 2025, we're in a position to file this case and hopefully bring some measure of justice to the victim.
Now, investigators first linked Duerson to the 2016 crime in 2019, but they say at the time they couldn't make contact with the victim, and the detective on that case retired. So then when IMPD reached out about Duerson's arrest last month, they say they were finally able to connect all those pieces.
And now to Madison County, where psychologists spent the day testifying about the IQ test score of a man on death row right now for killing an Elwood police officer.
Carl Boards II is charged with the shooting death of Officer Noah Chavez during a traffic stop in July 2022. 2 court-appointed psychologists have now performed intellectual disability evaluations on Boards. Dr. Karen Salakin testified that Boards scored 92 on the IQ test she administered, which was well above the 70 score considered sub-average.
Dr. John Fabian also testified Boards does not have an intellectual disability, and the prosecution called Dr. Justin Donaldson, who confirmed the court-appointed evaluations.
We provided our own expert, a psychologist that we have retained in this case, and he provided some additional explanation to the court-appointed psychologists and their evaluations, that we presented additional evidence in addition to what the court had provided through their experts.
So the judge will hear arguments from both sides on the intellectual disability evaluations at the next court hearing that's scheduled for October 2nd. The trial is expected to begin in January.